No break, no jam, no sense. A joro jara, joro, joro, joro.
It's kind of mad how everything came together. Generally speaking. Like, how many months in the making? 4 or 5? You could really say it's 2 to be fair.
You're talking about the start of the podcast?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a mad story.
It was longer than 2 years.
Actually, no. We're gonna go different route, but no, let's actually go into it.
Should I tell them?
Yeah, go for it.
Should I tell them?
Tell them.
Make I tell them.
Tell them.
Make you tell them. Yes.
Give them. Okay, I'll give them the story. So, this is how this podcast started. This podcast didn't even start as a podcast. It started out as a Twitter group. And it started in 2018 when a group of girls came out to share their experiences. And these group of girls just happened to go to our high school. And there are high schools that are, around us. They came out to share their experiences, and the experiences circled around sexual assault, and it was really both terrifying and surprising because this was a high school that we all, came up from, but it was just surprising to see that different people had very different experiences from we had, whereby we thought that it was paradise, they thought it was,
You thought it was paradise, but keep going.
Oh yeah, well, you had your fair share of basketball, so
I think we all did have our fair share.
I think we all had a fair share. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, back to the issue, like the important issue.
Yeah, man. It was just a list of guys that had, been involved in sexual assault, and it just shows how desensitized, Nigeria is to the rape culture. That amount of rubbish was going on, and even teachers couldn't pick it up. No one was picking it up, and these girls came out to share their experiences 5 years after. And after that happened, we decided to make a Twitter group, to discuss this, because it all took all of us by shock. I think we started out by like 8 people, but 2 other people, they didn't have enough sense. Well, at that time,
going to watch this, right?
At that time, they didn't have enough sense to speak on the matter, so we were like, "Yeah, fuck out of here."
I repeat, we're going to watch.
No, but jokes aside, they have educated themselves.
Yeah,
big up to them. They know themselves.
Big up to them, man. Big up to you.
100%, man. They have educated themselves, and they have different people now. But at that time, they weren't just cutting it.
That time was the top nonsense.
It was 5 of us left. And we just kept going for 2 years, discussing same topics, some about religion, some about the initial topic that started. And this year, in January, one of us had a dream that we started a podcast.
I don't know.
We'll give you your flowers.
Yes, that's all I want.
We'll give you your flowers. He had a dream that, we started a podcast, and we were like, yeah, fuck you, let's just run with it. And because we have had so much time together, and we figured that we had so much chemistry, we figured that we just share that with everyone, especially because of where Africa is right now. This is kind of our way of, reaching out to our people and, getting feedback from our people as well. And I think we were going to start this earlier than we did, actually. But because of coronavirus, I think that halted everybody's plans.
Yeah.
So we decided to.
This has all been in the works since February, and our first episode is gonna air in July. So
it's crazy. We started out with the Instagram lives, and man, so many people turned out for that. The support was crazy. From our first clash, which Bruna boy won. You see, I actually wore this shirt to rep Bruna because it's only right.
Ooh, wow.
And today is Bruna's birthday.
Ooh, wow.
So it was mad, man. The Instagram live was mad as well. Why am I even talking like this? The Instagram live was mad as well because a lot of people turned up, especially for the Olamide and Davido one. Bro,
YBNO was
people came,
the entire thing, man. Oh my days.
I was robbed.
Not even robbed. Nah, I probably was.
Nah,
Olamide is better than Davido now.
Bro.
Olamide is better than Davido.
Man, let me tell you guys
no
something. Yeah. We got to the 12th song, and they were asking what's the scores, and people were saying 20-0.
Because they could see the future. It's a future thing.
I was stretching, man.
It's a future thing. They don't see them already. I'm sure some of them already listed all the songs that Davido had. They were like, you can't. You know, reach.
But regardless of all that, like, pick up everyone that came through, pick up to everyone that followed, pick up everyone that's still here supporting. Like, we appreciate you 100%.
Now we appreciate everything, right?
Yeah.
Even on the first day, I think we had like 200 followers straight up.
Like, the day the podcast was announced, like, 200, like, off the bat. And I wasn't expecting that personally.
Neither were we.
But yeah, man, the fact that we're sitting on probably roughly like 900 or something like that, like,
But keep it going, though.
Yeah. Don't stop. Like, if you're not following, follow on, please. But
Keep going.
yeah, man, I'm just happy to be here. It's been
And
a
our
few months in the making. But
yeah, man. And our characters are pretty much the same almost. Well, not really, but I think we're all controversial people.
That is true. That is true.
And having said that, I think it's better, or it will suffice to give you guys a disclaimer that you may get pissed off. In fact, you may get angry. That's what we have to say. We're three very different people, but yet we're the same. I know that doesn't sound like it makes sense.
No. That doesn't make sense.
Real in time.
It doesn't make sense. Try again.
Like, nah, this guy is.
But no, what I'm trying to say is, like, it's impossible for you to agree with 100% of everything someone says.
Okay.
And I think even in this day and age, especially in this day and age, once you disagree with one thing someone says, you write the person off completely. So I won't beg you because I don't beg people. But please, I know they beg you. You should just give us a chance. If you don't agree with one thing, doesn't mean everything we're going to say after is crazy. In fact, we may not all. We probably won't agree. All three of us on the topics we're talking about, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
And it's not a thing of us saying we're correct. It's a thing whereby we're trying to start a conversation. So if you think we're saying rubbish, put it in the comments or anything. Don't go there and be cussing people's mothers, please. Just sensible things, without sensible stuff.
And we all had different high school experiences as well, so we're not the same person.
Not the same person. Like, even beyond high school experiences, just growing up in Nigeria, like, we all had different backgrounds, of course. Like, even the way all this has been pieced together, like, Ifeanyi and I, like, we went to the same elementary school, so I've known him for about 14 years. Yeah. And all three of us went to the same high/secondary school. So in total, we've known each other for about 10 years together as a group. So obviously, from different schools of thought, like, we're gonna have different opinions about everything. Like, this is just a good mental spar. And yeah, I just hope you guys enjoy it because there's gonna be a lot of arguing going on here.
Yeah, man.
And the podcast is, like I said, at the start, it's kind of for Africa.
Yeah.
And it's for all people of Africa.
Pick up the motherland.
Do you get what I mean? Yeah, it's for the motherland, man. And we figured that if we have so much, to share, why don't we just do that? Yeah. And of course we're gonna rep Nigeria because that's what we're all from.
Yeah, I mean, imagine Nigeria carrying us.
Imagine that. But the podcast is for Africa. We're here to really big up the continent.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people are proud of where they're from.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem.
And we will talk about
that. And we're gonna talk about that.
100%.
Do you get what I mean? So that's basically why we're here.
Like, everything down to a logo, we just
down to our logo.
Like, we have to throw it back home, man. Even the name Green Passport, for a lot of people that might not know, like, the Nigerian international passport is green.
Yeah.
And we're international Nigerians, and we're literally filming this from Sheffield, the United Kingdom. So if you put two and two together, big up Ifeanyi for the name. I have to big him up. Ifeanyi.
Thank you for giving me
like,
that.
Word.
They've already said I was saying rubbish just 5 minutes. I'm sure you guys have had that moment where, like, you read about problems and you feel kind of powerless because we're still trying to, make something of ourselves.
Yeah.
And there's nothing we can do, and it's just the same problems over and over and over again. So, it's part of the reason why we decided to start this. So this is by us, for us, I really hope it can grow into a platform where people, can listen and can learn.
It will.
Oh, well, it will.
It will.
Hopefully, man.
Yeah,
And
that's the plan.
you know, this is going to be our first episode. Well, it is our first episode.
One thing I will say though, man, high school back in Nigeria,
Crazy.
I wouldn't. As mad as my experience was, like I wouldn't trade it in for anything, man.
100%.
From the teachers, the people I met there, like I felt like I especially grew as a person, and it kind of teaches you the concept of having tough skin. What do you guys think?
Yeah, man, of course, man. I think Green Springs gave me the confidence I needed, man. I won't lie, man. I won't lie.
Through insults, Sha.
Yeah.
Backlash.
If you could not fire back.
If you couldn't fire back, then you're in trouble.
Bro.
For real, man. It was more like, we had so much freedom to do what we want and express ourselves, but at the same time, we're also guided and restricted from a harsh world.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
You think?
Yeah.
Man, I think we're kind of sheltered a bit, man.
Yeah, we were sheltered.
I think I only understood how the world works when I got out of spring. My priorities were so different.
Man, so fucking
I wasn't taking
different.
I wasn't taking anything seriously, man.
I'm not gonna lie.
Waiting concerned me.
I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, remember how they taught us that GCSEs were life and death?
Bro. Like if you're watching this, you're about to do your IGCS or GCSE.
Oh no, if I
better take it seriously, man.
Okay.
Better take it
I
seriously.
thought you were about to say something.
Like the way they made it seem as if you failed, in fact, just enter gutter. As if you're alive for them, man. But
My GCSEs were nothing now. Look at me now. My first year result wonderful. Second wonderful. Third wonderful.
Times 3 for all of us.
And he's even a graduate. You see his GPA.
Yeah, he shocked you. He go shock you, man. But it wasn't that bad, though. But yeah,
my
man.
GPA was awful from year 7 to year 10. I was not the smart kid.
In year 7, I carried 1.5 now.
Jesus is Lord.
Wait. I know I said mine was bad, but it wasn't.
I beg you. I was carrying like 3.0, not 1.5.
No, my one, even 3, 1.5. I remember there was a music exam. I only wrote my name. I didn't care.
To be fair, man, music was
Oh.
Our music classes were just like Illuminati conspiracy theories, to be fair.
Oh my god.
Our music teacher was the biggest conspiracy
Theorist
theorist
ever,
ever,
man.
man.
Shout out to him, man. Shout out to him.
Isn't it
Well-
crazy that how, like you said, like you didn't necessarily do well academically back in high school, but then you do your thing now in uni. And even me, I used to fail damn near all the music exams, and I make beats now, I make music now. So really, that's one thing for kids in high school watching this. Like one thing you do need to know is that high school isn't the end of the world.
It isn't the end of the world, man.
So what
That doesn't
anyone
mean-
tells you, be a senior, the teacher, is not the end of the world. There's still so much time for redemption of any kind if necessary.
Yeah, I mean,
man.
doesn't mean you should feel shy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
doesn't mean
please
it should
don't
be
fail.
useless. No,
Please don't fail.
Please.
100%. I think also growing up in Africa, I think our parents had a big role to play in that.
For sure, man.
African parents are so different from other type of parents.
Yeah.
They are on their own class. Even the way they love is different.
Yeah.
If they love you by chastising you.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say something. Like, whenever people talk about African parents, it's either they absolutely love them or they absolutely hate them.
Two different
And most
sides
of the
spectrum.
time, I only see people talk about the bad and they never talk about the good, as though there are no good. But there's a lot of good in there.
There is.
And I've learned something. My personal experience was fantastic, but I've learned that, people have different experiences to mine. So
I'm happy you said
I
that.
shouldn't use my use my personal experience to make generalizations about other people, because to be very honest with you, when people have had legitimate complaints, but I kind of used my personal experience to be like, nah man, that didn't happen.
And people need to understand that parenting isn't easy.
No,
Yeah.
It's not easy to commit, to that kind of responsibility, and it's also not easy because you love them so much that you're afraid that they'll fail.
Yeah.
So sometimes you take irrational decisions just out of the sheer love you have for them.
Yeah. Extreme love can be destructive.
Yeah.
It can.
Yes, it can. I completely agree with you. And like I said, there's one thing you said I was really happy you said, because we've had conversations like aside from this, like not everyone grew up the same. Like you said, compared to other kids and their experience with their parents, like I can say that you had a relatively good childhood or a relatively good relationship with your parents, but then not everyone, i.e. me, can say the same. I can't lie to you, but yeah.
It's okay, like you know him like that.
Oh, yeah, man. But can I ask a question though?
Yeah, go for it.
Especially on Twitter, when people talk about their parents, why do they feel the need to generalize? You can give your personal accounts, and just leave it at that. If it's my parent did this, no African parents did this. I know it seems like a trivial thing, but still, I don't know, man. It still kind of bothers me.
I think African parents share very
similar.
Yeah.
But how do we know? Like, for example,
because they shout.
No, yes, they shout. But also
they don't say sorry.
Sorry?
When they say sorry, they give you by bribing you with food.
that's the thing.
Have you eaten?
It's fine. Take.
Have you eaten?
What?
That's the thing, man. See, that's a generalization. And let's say, even if you know 100 people who have shared your experience, that's still not an adequate depiction of everybody's experience.
That's true.
I think
sorry to interrupt, but like even from little things such as tweets that someone would share their story, and then you see the comments or whatever, like, oh my gosh, same. Like a lot of people suffer the same issues they have with their parents. Yes, there's situations that other people, i.e. you, that would say that I didn't necessarily have it like this, or oh, you might feel they're overreacting, but these are some people's realities.
And also, it's I think another similarity that African parents share is lack of emotional intelligence.
Zero emotional intelligence.
Zero emotional intelligence. Because they trade their emotional intelligence for gifts. Kind of because
you think?
Yeah, I mean, instead of telling you I love you, they'll tell you that they sent you to school, a really good school.
Okay, fair enough.
Can I explain that point?
I go for it. Come on.
Now, obviously, context, tone, everything is important.
Okay.
But when African parents say stuff like during school, we have shelter over your head, to me, it doesn't come across as I'm providing these things for you, therefore, like, you shouldn't complain, or I'm providing these things for you, therefore, you should worship the floor I walk on, or something like that. I think it's kind of like you should appreciate the things you have. Because I'll be honest with you, it took me a while before reality set in and I understood my privilege and stuff. Yeah. So, of course, I'll say again, like tone and, stuff like that matters. Context matters. But in general, I do think, maybe they don't say it's like how it should be said or something, but that's just how it comes off.
Don't you think it's a bit convenient though, how they just pick out what they've done for you all your life when they're trying to correct you? Or when you get me, they're always, you get what I mean? They're always like, but you're in a good school. Instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry this happened, or oh, I love you.
It's like what my dad said to me one time, like when we had a usual big argument. It's like,
my guy said usual, that's
fine.
Normal.
It was normal because me and my dad were the same love boys. My mom pointed out, me and my dad were the same love boys, and we have massive egos, and we're gonna keep going until, like, but yeah.
Thank God you don't talk about
it. But yeah, my dad would always say, like, he used to say it a lot, it's like, I don't care, and I always hate the fact that he said this, but then he'd say something like, I don't care if you hate me, I don't care how you feel about me. As long as I know I did everything in my power to make sure you were in the best position and you become even better than me, I can sleep well at night. And I don't think it should be that way.
That's wrong, because you should speak to your children instead of telling them, oh, I've provided everything I need for you. You should explain to them while you're punishing them. You should tell them you love them. Bro, I won't cap. My mom has told me she loves me many times, but my dad has only said it once, and that's when I passed an exam. It's not fair now. But I know he loves me.
Your dad is listening to you. That's crazy.
Oh man, you're still on zero.
Wow,
I'm on 1.
Big 21 years of age, 0. Maybe he said when I was a baby.
Maybe when you were born. Oh, I love you so much. That's
the baby photos I have. That me and then my dad is still frowning. Because I'm just like, was this guy? If I never even get
What do you think, Ifeanyi? It looks like you're itching to say
Nah,
something.
man. I mean, my parents, they talk calm every time. But
Oh,
I
man.
just said, let me know
Look at
if
your
I
parents.
See, you had a different, you had a more.
Oh, mate, how do you, the thing is, when we make the generalizations, how do we know there aren't more? Of
Because
these
you see more people talking about this issue than you do about people sharing your type of experience.
Surely,
Very few,
surely
fewer people
that.
share your type of your
Fair
experience with
enough,
African
fair
parents.
enough, fair enough.
African parents, they shout too.
I still think, no, they don't. Even my parents, they shout now. Even me, I did shout. So I think it's an African thing.
We got it from them.
But just loud, man. But at the same time, yeah, I think it's so easy for children to blame their problems on their parents.
Yeah.
Yes, they have a big impact on how we turn out because your like formative years are very important. But sometimes it's just the way people use to avoid taking responsibility for like when they fall short for something.
Yeah.
And I know it's like it's a thin line because you have to talk about specific instances, and now we're just talking about like as a rule of thumb, like generalizing and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, man, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's-
All in all, big up our parents, mom, dad,
Yeah.
love you. That's it.
But I would like to say this though.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
African parents love the hell out of their children.
Yeah.
They do. They just have a funny way of showing it.
I think the thing is, you know, when people talk about these things on Twitter, like online and everything, they only talk about the bad parts. This one's talking about, man. They never talk about the good parts. They make it seem like African parents are the spawn of Satan or something like that. But I promise you, I shit you not, man. These people care about their children so much, and it's an understatement.
It's because they care so much that it leads them to do sometimes irrational things,
Yeah,
like
man.
forcing a child to pick a course. It's because they
Yeah,
believe that
yeah,
that's the best,
That's the best thing.
option for the kid. But they need to also understand that you don't own the kid.
Yeah.
You
Now,
know.
is it necessarily right? No, it's
No,
not.
it's
You know,
not.
but it comes from a place of love, and like I said, this isn't me justifying what's happening. I'm just
You're
trying
really
to
extra
explain.
to this boy. You're really
Bro,
championing.
man.
He's really on the side of the
I'm
parents.
trying to
man.
be fair, man, because it's easy to criticize. I think our generation will know just how hard it is to be a
Yeah.
parent. But my greatest fear is our generation would be too liberal,
Lenient?
too lenient, and you can't go from one extreme to the other. It has to be
Either
somewhere
way,
in the
it's
middle.
never gonna work.
I think out of the fear that we would become the parents that they don't like, or well, not that they don't like inherit the
this
traits that they
built-up,
don't
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they would try to overcompensate, and they're just gonna, bro.
Because
that
our
could
parents
be
were at the
destructive
other
to
extreme, because I think they lacked emotional intelligence, so they couldn't give it.
100%.
And I think we understand the lack of it, so we're going to give him more. So the fear is, are we going to give him more in place of, some stern,
some reasonable chastisement.
you get me, some
sometimes.
small beating here and there, some more fluidity. You get me? So we shouldn't go to the other end of the spectrum, because then our kids will become, lazy and
Yeah, man.
So many
It
things.
should be somewhere in the middle, and finding that balance is so difficult.
It's so difficult, man.
It is.
And even growing up in Lagos, man, apart from our parents, apart from high school, there are two sides of Lagos.